All right, the meeting will come to order. Thank you everyone for coming, in spite of the weather. This is a meeting of the Lakeville Conservation Commission. Today is January 23rd, I believe.
Yes.
1924.
2024.
2024.
One of those decades.
See, it messed me up already. All right, you're gonna make the announcement on,
Recording?
We're gonna introduce ourselves.
I thought you'd record the recording.
Okay,
thing.
yes. We are being recorded by LakeCAM. Is anybody else recording? No?
All
All
right.
set.
If members of the commission would identify themselves, please.
John LeBlanc,
Joshua Faraday.
Bob Bouchard, Chairman.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Nancy Yates.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started. First item on the list is 310 Kenneth Welch Drive. I won't bother repeating all the information because it's going to be continued at the request of the owner. So do I have a,
Date? What would be the date?
Well, I just wrote it down. February 13th. I'd like to make a motion that we continue 310 Kenneth Welch Drive to February 13th at 7 o'clock.
Second.
motion and a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, 9 Cross Street. This is with Zenith Consulting, and I don't see anyone here.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And again, at the request of the applicant, we'll continue, so.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue 9 Cross Street to February 13th at 7 p.m.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Let's try one more. 9 Cottage Lane. This is an RDA.
Oh, what
Oh,
about
Oak
8
Street,
Oak
Oak
Street?
Oak Street.
I skipped over. Sorry, I was anxious. 8 Oak Street, Farland Corporation, septic upgrade continued from 1/9/23. Good evening.
Let me first start off by apologizing for not showing up last week. Got my schedules mixed up, so it's something I've never done before. So I apologize to the commission for that and any abutter who may have showed up. Especially considering last time, I think the weather was worse than it is right now, so definitely apologize for that.
It's happened to the best of us.
For the record, Stevie Cavallo of Farland Corp. I have reduced scale copies, 11 by 17, if you prefer to take a look at those instead of the large scale drawing.
I'll take one. I'll take one.
Yeah, if you got enough. Oh, and I have copies of the agenda here if anybody needs one.
Is it any different than that?
No.
Let's see if this is what I've seen. No, I haven't seen this one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I saved mine from last.
Also got all of the certified mailings. I'm not sure if anyone wants those.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I know I had emailed over the receipts.
Right.
Those are some of the green cards. I'll get right to it. It's an existing single-family dwelling, very tight lot. We've got a bordering vegetative wetland in the rear. Existing septic is somewhere back there. Plumbing comes out below the basement slab. It's a walkout basement. So this blue line here is bordering vegetative wetland. This is a 25-foot buffer, 50 and 100. We've got abutting wells across the street. This arc here is the 100-foot well radius for the neighbor across the street, and this is the 100-foot well radius for that neighbor right next door. What we're proposing is a bottomless sand filter up front. We're able to sneak it outside of the 100-foot buffer zone entirely. We are within the 50-foot buffer zone with the tank and Advantex system, which comes out the back of the property, and then a pump basin, which pumps up to that bottomless sand filter. It's really the only place in which we can put that septic tank, given that it's a walkout basement and the plumbing goes below the basement slab. It's essentially the scope of work. There is an existing well that's in the structure, it's in the basement. That is being decommissioned, and the applicant is extending the water main off of Evergreen with a 4-inch PVC water main. That's being permitted currently through the Clock Shores Water Corporation. In doing that, he's also providing a stub for the neighbor who opted to tie in at some point. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Has the Board of Health approved this?
Yes.
Yeah, you spent quite some time with the Board of Health, didn't you? I was
Yeah.
watching some of that stuff.
Yep.
But everything's been signed off?
Yeah, we received the approval actually via email today. I'd be more than happy to
okay.
forward that.
Okay.
Now, there was a house there before,
It's the same house, he's just remodeled it.
there wasn't another one before that?
Nope, it was the exact same house, so
Okay.
foundation's the
Right.
same,
Was it?
everything's the
Right
same,
here.
footprint's the same. I'm not sure if he went up though and,
Yeah.
put on a second floor, but the footprint is definitely the same. Same number of bedrooms as it previously was.
Yeah, there's something changed about it besides the,
I think it definitely looks a lot different. He put a new porch, or at least finished the porch. It looks much, much nicer
yeah,
than it
it
did,
does,
for
yeah.
sure.
and the actual location of the septic system in the rear is somewhat indefinite.
It's unknown, based on all of the information that we were able to kind of gather. It's somewhere back there.
Okay,
As part of the installation of the tanks and the Advantex and all that piping.
That's a scientific term, right? Somewhere back there.
It'll be,
I missed that in school.
it'll be located and abandoned properly.
Okay, that's fine.
What did the Board of Health suggest you do with the present well that's in the cellar?
Decommissioned.
Decommission it?
Correct.
Did they specify filling or just disconnect it or something?
So the Board of Health agent, I think he would ideally like it filled, although I don't know how easy that's gonna be. They were gonna evaluate its depth initially to see how deep it was, and then determine, how to decommission it properly.
Probably what, 20 feet?
It very well may be. Yeah.
If
Bang
it's
down.
in the basement, it's probably just been
It's-
there,
it's-
believe me.
Yeah, it's
They have a
not,
way that you have to do it to
Yeah.
decommission
DEP
it.
has a procedure
Yep.
that they recommend.
yeah, and, Board of Health agents, he was on top of that, and he wants to be notified and do all the proper inspections, so he'll be on site, as part of that work, for sure.
Okay.
This is a classic example, all the sand you're bringing into the bottomless.
Yep.
Then filter. It's a perfect example of dirt ain't dirt cheap, huh?
Right.
What is that stuff, like $80 a ton? was
Yeah,
it?
it's that filter sand is very expensive. And the good thing is it really reduces the footprint. So-
Absolute, very compact system, yes.
This piece and that.
You did test pits out there?
Town
We did
property.
too.
Those are the town
Groundwater?
property. That's a big.
We've got, so test pit one
Interesting.
is kind of up here just between this large tree and the bottomless sand filter. We had groundwater, at 65 inches. Board of Health actually also asked us to do one in the back just in case we couldn't be without, outside of the 100 foot from the abutting wells, and back there it's 28 inches. So we proposed complete monolithic tanks with rubber boots on all the piping.
Good serious buoyancy calcs there.
Yes.
Don't want them popping up out of the ground.
Is there a deep water
Still-
pit on this one? How close is it to groundwater?
So the tanks are all gonna be within groundwater, a good portion of them. Septic tanks gotta be about 2.5 feet below grade to the top of the tank. So I'd say about 5 feet of that tank is gonna be below seasonal high groundwater. All the risers, collars, all gonna be watertight.
I don't see a dewatering pit, am I
Okay.
missing it?
Nope, we didn't show a location for dewatering, we can certainly add that. It would be, you know, on the, uphill side of that straw wattle that's proposed. I also wanna note that even though this is the bordering vegetative wetland here, it's actually all lawn till back here.
Yeah.
You can see that existing limit of clearing line. It's just kinda unique how that is, all lawn, but we had the wetland scientist out there, he did soil borings, determined that, limit of bordering vegetative wetland. With regards to the dewatering, does the commission have a preference as to how it's dewatered? Something you guys like to see?
Well,
I don't think you need to do a whole new plan, I think when
Okay.
Bob goes out to see the straw,
Wattles.
bottles,
Yep,
show him where it's
You can
gonna
show
be and maybe
Okay.
just draw it in on another plan, I wouldn't wanna see you have to do another whole
Okay.
plan.
Yeah.
But,
So,
and then Bob would need to see it when he does the
Sure.
site visit.
sounds good.
Anyone else? Questions? We're all good?
Okay, I make a motion to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions for 8 Oak Street, 192-909, with all of our standard conditions, with an additional conditions that that you'll add a dewatering pit, and that Bob will review it on his site visit.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 You're good,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Usually,
More stuff?
the 8 Oak Street.
Oh, okay. Legal notice.
All set.
Okay,
9 Cottage Lane.
Yep.
next is 9 Cottage Lane, which is an RDA for the installation of a dock and a boat lift. I'll read the notice, if I got the right one, let me see. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Wetlands Protection Act, Lakeville Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on January 23rd, 2024 at 7 p.m. The Lakeville Police Station, 323 Bedford Street, on a notice of intent. The applicant is Francis Madden, is proposing a pre-existing dock to the back of his property that will extend into Long Pond for seasonal use. Project is located at 9 Cottage Lane and is also identified as Assessor's Map 050, Block 003, Plot 009.
Hello, my name's
Good evening.
Francis Madden. I'm new to this process, so forgive my not being so exact
You're right.
to the policies, but
Well, we won't start throwing things at you right away then.
perfect. So I purchased the property with my wife, and we, upon purchasing the property, it had the dock, the pier, the boat, everything was pre-existing. So I'm not changing anything with it to anything at all. In regards to the prior owners, from what I heard, there was an issue with the prior owner and all the neighbors where they didn't get along, and there was a lot of issues due to the fact that there's an easement that is technically owned by myself and the owner to the right of me, which I don't have a problem with them having a pier going straight in the water, and they have a deck that's located on the easement to make sure that everything's done right by the book. I'm just looking to get the license, and I've already spoke to my neighbors, and there's no issues and everything's good. And I've already told them that I don't have I'm a firefighter in Brockton. I get along with people. I don't have a problem. I'm very friendly. So just to make sure everything's done by the book and make sure that I'm following the rules, I'm just applying for the license, I guess.
You do have a dock permit though, right?
Chapter 91.
Chapter 91, yes. So I'm applying for that. And I spoke with Carlos Regatta. He originally, from the previous owner, he originally from the previous owner wanted them to have signatures, basically saying, this is what's being done and this is what we are planning. And he said, due to the fact that I'm the new owner and there's no issues, and there is a clearance of well more than 25 feet in both directions, that there will be no problem, that I don't have to go about into getting going the other way of getting the other license, and that I could do the simplified license. And then he directed me to speak with Robert, the commissioner, Robert Bouchard, to confirm what was going on and everything within the plans and in the details regarding it.
Yes.
I spoke to Carlos too, and then I spoke to Bob also. On your request for determination, you didn't check
Check anything, yeah.
anything that you wanted us to look at. So I'll tell you what you should have checked and we'll check it for you,
Okay,
okay?
I'm sorry for that.
You should have checked whether the activities depicted on the plan referenced above is subject to the Wetlands Protection Act and its regulations. That's what you're asking us. And what we're probably gonna say is, yes, it is, but we would give you a negative, which is good, determination, and as a -3 with a condition that you need to apply to DEP and get your chapter 91 license.
Okay.
Yes? Anybody?
So this was under the previous owner?
Right,
The
so, but he
existing-
still has to get it under his
Now I
name,
understand.
so,
Okay.
okay?
Usually it's the other way around.
Okay.
They want a sign off from the town before you can go for your 91.
Right,
And I had a question on this one also.
well, there was a box checked in the wrong place,
Yeah, they
right?
said single-family house on a lot recorded on it before 8196. You're not dealing with the house. This is a project other than a single-family house, a public project. That's what it should be checked, right? Not that it makes, we're just doing this for you.
Yep, I
Just so
apologize.
the paperwork is,
Yep.
done right. Otherwise, this is essentially, these two are blank sheets.
Okay.
I mean, they're the form, but they weren't filled out.
Well, actually, section 3 only deals with riverfront.
Riverfront?
But you said Carlos didn't have a problem because you had 25 feet of clearance, but the plan you have here only shows 22 and 17
The 75-foot frontage.
of the property.
Water frontage, sir.
There's no required distance between two structures.
He said there was, at least I have, as long as I have 25 feet on the left and right of the dock, that I don't have
On
to.
the coast? Like coming
Yes, sir.
right off the coast?
Yes, sir.
But you don't need 25 feet when you
At the
get out to your float?
No, he didn't say that. He just said that as long as I had 25 feet to the left and right of the dock on both the property.
line?
Yes, sir. He would be fine doing the simplified licensing. And he said I would have to get it, so go to this commission, get this done, and then from there I would have to start the process with him to.
Did he look at your plan?
He had, the
Okay.
prior owner sent the pretty much the exact same thing.
Okay.
I just drew it up closer to really like zoom in on the project so you guys can see it more detailed.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Is this simplified license number from 2009 still valid?
From my understanding, I'm still a little bit confused, but from my understanding, once this commission decides to, whatever decisions are decided tonight, then I would have to go to him, and then he would issue a
New number,
license number. Yes, sir.
different than this one.
Yeah, and
Yes, sir.
ours, I think we get a little bit confused, cause our permitting is, you're saying you could do an RDA, which is a simplified permit, and not a notice of intent, which is a more complex
Yeah,
one,
we
so
went over
Carlos
that
said
a
he
few
could do an
times.
RDA.
Yeah.
And then he'll go and get that, I don't know if it's a simplified license or not, but this is just permitting and that's licensing.
Yeah. Well, one
Okay.
is dependent on the other.
Yeah,
Right.
The history, as you heard, goes way back on this site. And there's a lot of complicating factors. There's the right of way between the two buildings, and there's always been a battle between both sides as to who had rights. In actuality, unless they've changed it, the homeowners association allowed everybody in the association access to the water through that little strip. Thank you. And that's what the fight was all about. That's hopefully been resolved.
Yes. Yeah, there's no problem. I don't have an issue with
No, I
And
understood.
we don't have a bunch of people in the back row here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like, they have their dock stored in the easement. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
But where the complication occurs is there's one owner, and the members of the association still have right of access, but you actually own the property adjacent to it. And so there's only one owner, whereas the association used to own all of it.
From my understanding, there was not, and obviously I'm not too sure, but from going back and forth with the previous owner and then the owner to the right of me, we actually both pay taxes on the easement.
Right.
There is no homeowners association.
But there was when it was first
But-
established.
Okay. I know the easement, they said that, obviously everybody in the neighborhood has access to that easement, which obviously is not an issue,
Right.
so.
And that's where everybody docks their boats?
There is technically supposed to be, I think there's supposed to be 4, but, as you can see in the picture, there's only 3 boats, on that. Yeah, the homeowner to my left, he has a spot on there. And then, 2 other individuals. One of my neighbors directly behind me, he has a spot on that dock as well. And I believe there's a dentist in the neighborhood.
So this is a picture of the old dock?
That's the exact,
That's what's been, since you bought it, this is what's
that,
been in the water?
yes, sir.
Did they do any of those repairs they had talked about on the edge of the old dock? There were a couple of beams needed to be replaced.
From my understanding, there was an argument between the neighbors and someone took that dock, the deck down. Excuse my terms, I might be
No, that's
using
all
them
right.
incorrectly. The deck was taken down, and then when they rebuilt it, from the neighbors who built it, they built it bigger than it was supposed to be.
Yeah. But it was a small,
It was supposedly it was smaller before.
right,
Now it's bigger.
so, as long as there's no
No problem.
no
Yeah.
problem now,
Yeah.
that's all we care.
Yep. I know the neighbor to the right was really, they're pretty still angry,
Yeah.
but I think they're gonna be selling, so.
We should say, they're all nice people, they just have an issue.
Yeah.
On the ownership and use of this property.
So I will make a motion that we issue, is everybody done?
Yep.
Think so?
I will make a motion that we issue a -3 determination with one condition that you file with DEP for chapter 91 license.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Second.
Oh, motion and second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
You're all set.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
What, no big fancy plan for us?
I gave you enough copies.
The kids are all older now, they don't color them in for me.
Ah,
Used to laugh, but each kid had a color.
each kid had a
Pass the
color.
plan down the table.
They won't do it anymore?
No. Too busy.
Well, they will, but you'd have to pay them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the labor's not free.
Food still.
So you wanna make this system a lot better, right?
Yes.
You notice the dewatering area is already in,
That's good.
if needed.
All right,
Are you gonna, do you need to read the notice? This isn't continued, is it?
No.
this is,
This is a new one.
this is
Randy
new.
knew.
This is new. So if you're ready. Next on the list is 26 Central Ave. This is a notice of intent filed by Foresight Engineering for a septic system upgrade, and I will read the notice. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Wetlands Protection Act, Lakeville Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on January 23rd, 2024 at 7 p.m. at the Lakeville Police Station, 323 Bedford Street, on a notice of intent filing. The applicant, James and Mary Welsh, trustees, are proposing to upgrade the failed septic system with the proposed septic tank and pump tank within 100 feet of Long Pond due to existing plumbing location. Project is located at 26 Central Ave and is identified as Assessor's Map 042, Block 024, Lot 003.
Good evening, Darren McCallis from Foresight Engineering, here on behalf of the property owner. We have an existing 3-bedroom dwelling on a 13,000 square foot lot on Long Pond. We're moving the septic from beside the house with a cesspool right now that's completely in the water table. We'll be putting the septic tank there with a fast system inside the tank, H20 tanks due to buoyancy, a monolithic H20 pump tank, and then pump the sewerage up the hill outside of the 100-foot buffer to a stone leach bed with retaining walls on the downhill side. We're going to decommission the existing well that was never permitted in the first place and tie back into the water system that's available coming down the driveway. So a small portion of that water line is also within the 100-foot. Basically, I moved everything as far up the slope as I could to allow us to tie into plumbing. We have our Board of Health approval. It's definitely an improved situation with the denitrification system going in for the new Board of Health regulations. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, you know that I have to point out the grammatical insufficiencies, right?
I'm sure you do.
I don't know what's coming.
Okay, in the second paragraph, the applicant is also proposing to, and then with a capital E, erosion control measures.
Ah, you got letters left
Like
out.
the word install is missing or something like that?
Probably. They're all cut and pasted, that's why. I'm a one-man show, I don't have time to retype the letter every time.
You follow the theory that we are all just slaves to our electronic masters, right?
That's right.
I find that Microsoft Word makes some weird corrections.
It
Oh, yeah.
makes very
Oh, yeah.
weird
It-
corrections.
Especially
very-
some of the engineering terms, if I type them in, what was that? That is
Yeah.
not what I was.
Yeah, when I write up some of the notices, it does some funky stuff.
Yeah, throws like a phrase in where I had a word.
It thinks it knows what you want to say, right?
All right, I just got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Is it because you sleeve the septic line that you can cross it with the water line? That's how it works?
Yep.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
just, I'm
So
just,
that's Title V, we are either
Right.
required to sleeve everything within 10 feet of the water line or encase the entire water
Okay.
line in concrete.
I got
So
it, I got it,
It's much cheaper to sleeve it.
okay. And Under the well note,
Yep.
is that supposed to be on there or was that a mistake?
Oh, that's probably not supposed to be on the air. It's
Okay.
the water supply, correct.
Okay, all right. Let's see, natural heritage, we have it?
Yes. We have
Alright.
Natural Heritage, we have our DEP number, and I have Board of Health approval.
$192,912. Is that
Is
it?
that it?
Yep. Okay, that's all I have.
That's it, I'm good.
Do you need any erosion controls on the north side of the house? I see you have one at the, just south of
On the
the,
north side, I do not, other than the dewatering, the way they're gonna have to build this, they're probably gonna put the wall in first.
okay,
And there's a
So
paved,
that-
there's a
that's
paved
your
driveway
erosion
right there,
control?
yeah, I mean,
okay.
and then it's all lawn area down to the house, so I would assume if something came across that they would put a silt fence there.
Alright,
Driveway's a little tough.
Yeah, that's a little steep there, yes.
Shift it into four-wheel drive, you can go right up there.
Well, now I'm creating a nice parking area on top of the
On
septic
top of,
system.
yeah,
In
right.
that
So
case,
that's the reason for pipe and stone also, is we can park on those, because it's already East 20 loading, so.
good enough. That's all I had. Anybody else?
Nope.
Ready?
Ready?
Okay, I make a motion that we close the hearing for 26 Central Avenue, DEP number 192,912, and issue an order of conditions with all of our standard conditions.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor?
aye.
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 Business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Is there nobody here for, Margot Drive?
Evidently not,
No.
Man, that was,
but
this is this belongs to the town now. Margot Drive is town road now.
right,
Town Road, yeah.
But that, when they did that,
Oh,
crossing
oh,
over there on the
I-
culvert,
oh,
the
long
bridge
time
was
ago.
cracked.
yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
one? I have a set extra.
Remember?
It was,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the
That
water was
was,
running over the
Well,
silt
if you look
fence.
at the conditions,
Actually, I think-
actually Joanne Micho
it's
wasn't on
two
the
of them.
signing.
Is the old
I wasn't
owner
either.
conditions is here.
This was before me. That's pretty old.
Yeah, and
Oh,
that
Joe,
was-
two.
that was you, Joe,
Yeah.
Steve Kudo.
Kudo.
two different ones.
I don't even know who that was. Oh, Neil
Neil
Ingram.
Ingram, yeah. And that was
Oh,
But the
some oldies.
conditions look like Joanne Micho wrote them.
terrible, so it's either clay or rock there.
Yeah,
And the
Marble
bridge,
Drive.
there was a huge crack in the bridge,
Yep.
so when we went to town meeting to accept it, I was vehemently opposed, and they went and took some concrete and filled in the crack.
Yep.
And it passed, so now we own it. So I guess this is old,
yeah.
so I think they probably, is there a reason why they're trying to get it off the deed?
Not that I'm aware
Somebody
of.
buy the house or a house,
Probably selling.
and there's two, is one the road and one the house maybe?
Well, this is,
Yeah.
I had the
This-
question because the request is
There are
for
actually
six-
two.
Is that, there's actually two.
Two, right.
Right.
That's why I'm asking if one's the road and one's a lot.
One's
Yeah.
the road and one's
Because you
the
only
lot.
give one number,
Okay.
6 Margot Drive,
But they all had the road on them.
but they
in
all
those
have the
days.
road on, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's, the address is the same. It's all, they're both 16 Margot.
Did you go look at it?
Oh, yeah, a couple times.
Okay. How's the bridge look?
Actually, it looks better than the last time I was there.
Okay, that's
Because they
good.
cleaned it up a little bit. There was all kind of junk in it and, water was flowing through it okay. The driveway at 16, that's the tough one though.
Yeah,
Right. You don't wanna go there on an icy road. But such as it is,
Yeah, it's probably too old. I mean, how's the well one look?
The wetland is,
Replication from what,
is
2001?
thriving.
Huh?
It's the, what, what do I wanna say? It's the wetland is thriving, let's put it that way. Cause I started here right after that was built. And so I've been watching it all this time, and it's gone through a lot of changes, but it looks plenty healthy now. So.
Good.
Wow. Should make a record of that one, wetland replication, that works.
Success.
Well, at first it was kind of iffy, because there was some problems with the planting, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that got straightened out.
Well, they were having lots of siltation problems there too, and
Yeah.
anything they planted, the roots were getting compacted with silt and preventing things from growing, but.
Well, it was right on the road, and everything was just running right into it.
Running right into it.
All right,
In your opinion, are these ready to close out?
yes, both of them.
On the agenda, it says 6, Margot.
It's,
On the
That's my
application,
question,
it
is
says 16.
it's 16.
You say 16, and I see 6, but that, the agenda, Laurie could have made a mistake, put in there, what counts is, it's the 16 that's on the request
Right.
for certificate.
Right.
Yeah,
So, and that's what it is, it's 16.
it's 16.
Yeah, I don't think that typo on the agenda is a big deal.
Right.
So I make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance on, I think we should do them separately.
Separately, yeah.
Separate.
I would do
On,
that.
SE 192-219,
Second.
16 Margot Drive.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I
And the
make
second
another
one?
motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for 16 Margot Drive on DEP number SE 192-323.
Second.
Motion, and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll get to you, don't worry. We won't close up early.
Are we expecting someone from Serpide?
Oh, it's me.
Oh, okay then.
Where is it? Here it is.
Are we all good?
I guess the question was, since I'm presenting this, should I be here or should I recuse? I don't
You
think I
should
recuse myself.
recuse yourself from the meeting and then introduce yourself as the
I get
applicant.
coffee first. I'm recusing myself from the meeting. I'm situating myself over here.
And you're gonna present to us the busiest plan I've ever seen in my life.
I know.
Read it.
I know.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
Magnifying glass time.
Even then.
Even then. There's so much stuff on there.
All right, so a few years back, through the Assawamsa Pond Complex APC management team, we received a MVP grant, Municipal Vulnerability Planning Grant. And out of that, which is a really good thing, a lot of times when you do studies of what should be done, it all goes away. But this has all been followed up in 2 projects that are happening right now. Number 1 is to get a management plan for the whole water system. One project that's happening in the works right now is dredging out the Nemasket River. And the second project that's gonna be happening, this is the engineering for redoing the culvert at Snake River by Tamarack Park. That when they redid Route 18, they put in an undersized culvert, so, Serp had written into all our MVP plans, Middleborough, Lakeville, Rochester, Freetown, that we need a management plan for this because the water is not getting out of Long Pond. That's how we had flooding in 2010, which we could have again this year. And once it gets into Assawamsa, it's not getting out of there either because the Nemasket's
Can't flow
clogged up.
through.
So these 2 projects, so they had asked me, or when they went for their state license, they had said, they wanted, something from Concom, so I suggested that they do an RDA, and then come to find out it wasn't included in,
The grant.
not the grant, but when the engineering firm gave the,
Right.
how much it was gonna cost, this wasn't included in there, so I said, well, I'll help you with the RDA. And I will present it at the meeting, cause it's costly to have an engineer come to our meetings. So basically, it's just for the boring, which isn't, it's from the road.
This one,
The
yeah.
boring's gonna be from the road down under
And it's
the
to enlarge the,
culvert, which is not probably gonna happen for a while, but this is, you know how it is, this is
why would we
Phase-
ever say no?
phase one, right? Well, how many homes were lost
Oh,
in, the 2010
Yeah, yeah,
flooding?
yeah.
So, to me, it just seems like a really good thing that something's happening, because over the last, how many years, there's been that problem.
Right.
And, you know, study after study after study, and, you know, actually thanks to Senator Rodericks too, we're getting money to do some of these projects, and it keeps going, and we probably could get, when the time comes, we probably get MVP money again, because they're very happy that we've taken all the recommendations and we're actually doing something with them. So, somebody else needs to make the motion on this one.
This is that negative one, right?
Yeah,
Right, Josh.
So this is specifically for the borings
yes,
to determine the soil so that they can look into expanding the culvert. I make the recommendation that we issue a -3 determination for Route 18 Snake River culvert presented by Serpent.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
very good, thank you. The second time I've done that, had to sit up there and ask.
Boy.
You better save that one. Throwing all these out before we leave, so they don't accumulate in my house.
You good?
Yep.
All right, next, something a little different. Environmental education, we all use that. Do we have a presentation?
I can talk, I don't know, I can definitely share. Did you share what I sent you with anybody else, or am I starting from?
You sort of starting from
Scratch?
scratch, yes.
Well, we have,
Although-
Yeah,
we
no,
have,
you
this
gave
is,
us what you had sent.
yeah, we have this information.
Yeah, I guess I can give a little background about myself, and then what I'm looking to do. So I am Tabitha Yeager.
And you
I've
wear
been-
LL Bean boots.
What?
And you wear LL Bean boots.
Yeah. And I've been a resident here in Lakeville since 2010 and have been an environmental educator, formally, non-formally, for over 20 years. And since having my son here in Lakeville 6 years ago, I have been doing some part-time stuff, but also at home with him, and have been finding that I really have a passion for environmental education, and most recently leading what I call Wonder Walks and sensory-based opportunities in nature. And so a couple years ago, I created what I call Sensing the Seasons packs. And these are on Right in the Rain, weather-resistant paper. And basically they're designed so that a family could have the pack and over the course of a year or multiple years go out and use their senses to find a deeper connection in nature. I like to call it, it comes with 5 exercises. I like to call them exercises instead of activities, because kind of like if you're doing squats, you get better the more that you do them. So an activity might be something that you do once, but these are meant to be exercises. They're meant to be done over and over again. I haven't sold a ton of them. I've really found that I feel like people need a little bit more interaction, a little bit more education on how to interact with the pack and how to use it. And so for the next step for this business, would be to lead sessions of what I call wonder walks and do them seasonally. So I would teach the families how to use the packs over the course of, let's say, spring. I do somewhere between 4 and 6 walks with a family or a group of families, and they would get a pack and we would go out potentially at one Conservation Commission property, potentially at a couple different ones, depending on what works, and we'd see where it would go from there. I guess. I don't have enough land to lead the walks on my own property, and I've looked around at DCR and other options. I really would love to do something locally within the town. It feels like the right fit for me, so I've reached out, and here I am wondering if that's something that might be feasible, what that sort of partnership might look like. Yeah.
Have you identified properties that you would like to use?
So I have gone on walks with friends. We're in a homeschool nature co-op, so we've gone to James Jasper Vigors, Betty's Neck. So those are definitely 2 properties that I've explored a little bit more extensively, but I'm open to recommendations too. Yeah. I've obviously Massasoit, but that's not
Right.
I don't know of other Concom lands that know that more, but
There's a conflict there, but
Well, we've spoken,
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
And I'll say the same thing that I told you, is that I don't think it should cost Lakeville residents anything to do it.
Right.
And when we talked, especially about Betty's Neck, we could have your program. I have a great
Yeah.
budget at Betty's Neck, and
Yeah.
we had talked about that. We could pay you to do
yeah,
a program, and it would be free to the people of Lakeville. I don't
yeah,
feel like any conservation land, town property people should have to buy something to, I mean, I suppose if it was separately, I don't even legally know how that works, that a private business using town land to make money.
yeah. I understand that, and so I'm open to ideas as to what a partnership might look like too. I'm not in this to be a commercial business. I have a really deep passion for environmental education, and I do want to look at doing programs like that with the town too. I'm totally open to doing additional programs. This is just a vision for a program that I personally have been, I've put a lot into, and I'd really love to see this specific, like sensing the seasons, and it's not something that can happen as a 1-day program. I don't see it like it's something that will require me to put more time in with each of the families, and I'm still kind of figuring out exactly what that looks like. But yes, so
Well, we
Yeah.
just got, the town voted, and Senator Rodericks gave us money. We have $100,000 to work on updating and doing some things to the Peach Barn, which
Yep.
is a place, I mean, the Peach Barn's
Oh.
usable right now. You can
Yeah.
open up the doors, And I would love to see, I don't have to spend my budget on one time. I would like to see if you were gonna do a summer, winter, spring and fall like that.
Yeah.
I still think that we can come up with some funding
Yeah.
to have that happen with it, so that it doesn't appear like someone is charging. That use of town property should be free, I guess.
Right.
And legally, I don't even know how that works. That would be something we'd have
It's an
to.
uphill battle. We only looked at it back then.
So just, I'm thinking of Lakeville MMA. That's
Yeah.
town property that,
They pay rent to the park
Okay.
commission.
so,
Like
Okay.
MMA, what are you
But
talking about?
That
Makes
10
sense.
Williams.
right here.
I mean, it's like any of the uses at Ted Williams. The volleyball, horseshoes. I
Are
mean,
those,
They all pay,
they all have
they all,
charges?
right.
To use, same as John Pond Park. All the ball
Correct.
leagues have to pay into.
Right.
But I mean, as
Whatever.
a conservation commission, we can't, I don't think it's within our purview to require payment for the use of our properties if they're open to the public.
But another thing is that we have money too, and I'm not sure how that works. Like you're talking about the Vickers. Number one, Betty's Neck is not under Concom,
Right.
okay? But the Vickers property is. So we, as a Conservation Commission, have a fund also, and Josh would be the one to say if you can use anything out of, you can't use anything out of there for environmental education.
No, the funds are used for the enforcement and enactment of the Wetlands Protection Act. So I don't think it would be a proper use.
Even
To
our
pay
fees,
some-
even our like fees for RDAs and NOIs, because we
Our
have
local
our
fees?
additional fees.
Hmm.
Like the $75 tonight, I mean, I don't know how exactly it's broken up.
Does Wareham do anything like this? They don't have any environmental education deals going on.
You know, I've said over and over again, the peak part of Betty's Neck is set up to be an environmental education center. So, I mean, I'm pretty
Yeah.
passionate myself. So, I mean, I want to see something happen. I don't want people to have to pay to do it. So,
And is that, so it should be open to the public, whether Lakeville resident or non-Lakeville resident? Yes,
Yes.
okay.
well, if you're
Yeah.
doing a program,
Yeah, it's open to any community.
unless you want to say, okay, this program is open, whatever, but the limit is, you got to sign up for it. The limit is how many people can go on that
Right.
specific time, or
Right.
whatever.
There was a thought that it could be free to residents, but if you were an outsider, there would be a fee for a permit to use the.
See, we got conservation restrictions on all our land. That's another thing we have to look at. I mean, it's not just, I can't just say, aha, you know, they are, even at Betty's Neck, I'm not quite sure how that works. We've never done that before. Say, when we have an event up there, you know, Middleborough people can come. Middleborough is part of the APC. You know, the APC is Middleborough, Rochester, Lakeville.
Well, couldn't you, just to get
Rochester.
things started, it would be no fee, no charges either direction, but just start a very simple program that could grow and in the long term, once you get all the logistics figured out,
Yeah.
expand.
My challenge is the cost of the production of the materials, and then also just figuring out how I can sustain the time and the investment in it. So the only reason that I'm charging to do it is to get myself up off the ground. Like and then the other question is like insurance. So like I probably need to, as a business, have my own insurance. So
The
there's
town will require.
there's going to be costs for me to be able to create this, and I'm trying to figure out how.
Can I make
So-
a suggestion? Can she fund
Sure.
your program? I mean,
Potentially, and I totally, if there's a way for it to work financially so that I can
the
offer
town
it for
has
free.
insurance, right? That would cover this,
Oh, yeah, for
if she were
environmental
to
program.
become an instructor.
Sounds doable.
That sounds like, just to get you off the ground
Yeah,
and see how much interest there is, maybe,
I'm gonna do a big thing in the spring
Right.
because we're gonna work on, you know, the visitor center and when it's done, like a celebration thing. Because we have that money to put into it, so probably it might be more towards the summer than the spring.
so maybe it sounds like this might be a good fit.
I already said that to you.
Yeah, yeah, and well, we had talked last April, and then April didn't happen for me, for various reasons, and I started working on it more kind of behind the scenes, and am ready to really make something happen. So, yeah, I'd love to do something at the spring thing. I don't know how, like, so would that mean that I need to kind of come up with a different, like, one-day program, or that we would discuss and collaborate?
What would your first day thing be like? I mean, and the kids, we can talk about the cost of the kids or whatever, and we'll just have that activity that has to be signed up for. That's all. If you could only, if I have 100 people coming, you're not gonna be doing 100 people, you're gonna,
Right, yeah, no,
we'll pay for your materials for, like, say, 12 people, and then
See how it goes.
see how it goes.
See what interest there is. Then you're not out of pocket for any expenses.
yeah, that's just,
And then they already have the kit, so the next time you come back, they wouldn't have to buy it again. Like I say, there's a lot of things to work
Details to
out.
work out, but.
In the meantime, we can do some research and see if there is any way you can do this.
yeah. Yeah, if there's any, I don't know, like partnership or shared investment, or, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. My first response and my second and third responses on this were lawyers. Said the lawyers will be all over this. The first thing we have to do is see what the legal footing of something like
Right.
this is, because I don't think we have anything like this within the town.
Somebody
operates.
must.
Similar, but not
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
And
Sarah.
your line about profiting, quote unquote, profiting from use of public land is something, I mean, the lawyers have to go over this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, or at least go to the select board.
Yeah, when I
Well,
said
there's-
research, that's what I meant.
I mean,
To see if we can.
like
Right.
DCR is public land, and you can run programs through DCR on public land and charge, and there's like a permitting process. So I don't know if that's something, like if there's some sort.
Well, the
sort of,
state-
like,
The state is, we're regulated by the Wetland
right,
Protection Act.
right,
State can do whatever they want, honestly. So we would need to make sure that whatever we decide, we can do.
And they've been doing programming and stuff for years. They've got it all ironed out.
yeah.
And I think, Mass Association or MACC, Mass Association of Conservation Commission, would give us some information. I mean, they must have had programs like this presented around the state to different
Yeah.
municipalities.
Right, but our CR is held by Fisheries and Wildlife up at Betty's Neck,
Right.
so, I mean, we would need to look at our conservation restriction to,
But that's what I mean. There's a lot of things we need to check out.
Under the broad term of research.
But in the meantime, to gauge interest,
Right,
it seems to me it would be beneficial for both parties to just try doing it through.
yeah,
Yeah, the program.
yeah,
That's just my opinion.
yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I have to
Oh, yes, you
exit
told
the meeting. But I guess before I leave, I would say that if your question is if you can use conservation land to run an educational program, I think that would be appropriate. I don't know that we have the ability to mandate that she charges or doesn't charge any of that. I think you should look at the town ordinances to see if that's appropriate.
right.
But as far as you bringing someone onto conservation land that we already have deemed as public use, I think you're acceptable to do that.
Right. So I guess
You have time
one
for a couple of signatures?
question I have kind of on that note, if
You don't have to do them all.
I have, like, as a program, if I basically have a fee, call it a course, like I'm offering a Sensing the Seasons course to families, I'm going to be doing Zoom meetings with those parents to teach them how to use it. I'm going to be email corresponding with those parents to teach them how to use the pack. And then a handful of times over the course of the season, I would go on walks with them on properties. And they would also kind of have these packs. Is that charging for walks on the properties if I take that course.
That's just what Joe says, we'll have to look
Yeah,
into
and
it.
I'm just putting that out there, like if that, like, I don't know what works, and I want it, like, I'm here because I've seen tons of people offer walks at places and know that they're not, like, and not at Lakeville Concom lands, but I've seen posts about people doing stuff at like DCR lands or Mass Audubon lands, and I know that they didn't go through this process. And I want to create something that's sustainable. I want to build partnerships. I want to find something that's going to work for me, for the community, for people. So that's why I'm here. And I appreciate the opportunity to have these
Right.
conversations.
And I've been through that before, it's all coming back to me now, but Buzzards Bay
The coalition.
Coalition, and I found out about it by mistake, I didn't know they were coming, had advertised, a great walk up at Betty's Neck, and they were charging $25 a person for,
So what happened?
well, I called them up and said,
These are-
excuse
okay.
me, you cannot do this, number one, you kinda need a permit if it's gonna be over 25 people, because
Right.
they had just put it out there, they didn't even know how many people were coming. They just had put it out in the
Yeah.
newspaper, and it's like, look, if you have over like 20 people, you need to let me know, and you need to fill something out, cause I need to have a ranger on duty if you're gonna have that many
Right.
people on the
There's a
property.
liability issue, just.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I just put a thing to that and I just found out by mistake, but
Yeah.
so
Well,
it has
exactly,
happened
and that-
before, right?
Yeah, and I don't want that to be the demise of my dream. So I'm here because I'm passionate about the town, I'm passionate about
See you, Josh.
environmental education.
Hi, Josh.
And I want to do it the right way. So, and I love the idea of doing something at the town event, but I am also really vested in doing something that's more like session based. And I don't know what that looks like.
Well,
If that's
there's
feasible.
also the thing of that you could do something for free at the town event and just put your information all out. People can pick it up there and then decide if they wanna
Yeah.
do it or not on the outside.
Right. I just need a place that I can legally take people on walks. And so I don't know if that's like a private landowner that I get into an agreement with, or like at what point, like, and obviously this is the beginning of a conversation. And if there's any, you guys mentioned that you'll have to do some research and digging. If there's any way that I can help with that research and digging, by all means, I'm more than happy to figure out what will be above board. But I'm also open to other recommendations if it's a private landowner that might have some space that I could partner with, or
So I can use this, what Bob had handed out to us,
Yeah.
what you had given to him,
yeah.
to look in if they wanna know.
Yeah, and there's links, I can email them to my website, to some of the other information, that has my background and kind of what I'm looking to do and that
Do
sort of
we have
thing.
that signing folder going around, or
It's
John?
going around.
John's got it.
Yeah,
Well, he knows what I'd like to see happen, I just need to,
yeah,
We started down that road years ago, and the person who was involved with it left, and kind of we lost,
on the biggers.
right.
yeah,
But we still have to finish the property.
yeah,
So there's a little bit of work to be done, but it's got promise.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, we're certainly in favor of education.
Yeah.
So if there's a way to do it,
yeah.
we will try.
Yeah. So, I guess kind of what are the next steps aside from like keeping the conversation open about the spring event? What can I do to kind of
Do we
keep
have
the
access
ball
to town
rolling?
council?
Why don't you vote that as a
To-
conservation commission member that I work with her to see what we can
I
get.
make a motion
Thank you.
that Nancy work with,
Tabitha.
Tabitha to, research this and see if there's something we can do. Okay. Is there a second?
Oh, I thought we have a motion and second, all those in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
that we're waiting on, so.
Thank you.
Do you guys have each other's phone numbers?
I still have your phone
Yeah,
number, but if you wanna
I've got
send it
it.
to me again, just in
Okay.
case, but I'm pretty sure I still have it.
Yep.
because-
You've got the
Well,
office
because I'm having
number.
a spring event and I need to
Yeah.
have
Is
stuff
that
going.
potential, is that looking like April or May?
No, I'm thinking more like, June,
June?
because our, anniversary up at Betty's Neck is, the end of June, like June 28th, I believe, so. And hopefully we'll be looking a lot better by then.
Yeah. It's exciting. I didn't know you got that grant. That's awesome.
Well, no, the town voted $75,000 and then Senator Rogers got me an extra amount, but then the budget got cut a little bit, so it ended up to be like about maybe $112,000. So that would go a
Yeah.
long way up there.
Yeah.
Especially get the visitor center open again, so that it can be used, all year long. There's food still in there, so I can use it all year round.
So can people who are doing
Not completely.
programming that's
I mean,
they never
like
voted
unpaid
to fund
programming,
Those last
use
repairs?
that space? Or like
Remember when he came
homeschool,
before us?
nature
Yeah.
co-ops?
Did they ever
sort of
pay that
stuff?
stuff?
They haven't
That's
paid,
awesome.
well, he's been paid,
That's
Okay.
great. What about?
but he's looking for funds to.
Oh,
Okay,
can we,
work that's left.
can we adjourn so that we can, so this, we're all just chit chatting? I make a
Motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Okay.
second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Get out of here.